I'm Erin Weber with ErinsLunchbox.com, and today we are going to make something a little bit unusual and highly nutritious. So we have beef heart ragu. We're going to serve our beef heart ragu with some zoodles, and it's going to be a completely grain-free, nutrient-dense, vitamin-loaded feast using some of our less commonly, less popular, and often overlooked and, if not avoided, cuts of meat. So at the end of the day, heart is just a muscle. So we don't need to be too freaked out about it, but I know it can get a little psychological. So I got this from, it's actually grass-fed cow, and it's from Rocky Canyon. I got it on the Sunday Hollywood Farmers Market. I often make this exact recipe, and I developed it using ground bison heart, which as far as the flavor goes, is very similar to beef. But the texture, of course, of ground versus whole pieces are different. So we're going to chop it very finely today. When it comes to the heart, there's going to be valves sometimes or the silver skin on the outside. So you're going to want to make sure that you get that off. So I'm just going to trim up any bits that seem like they're going to be gristly or not so delicious and just totally discard them. If I had some stock going, maybe I'd throw it in with the stock. So again, I'm just kind of going for some of that. Looks like silver skin, it's a bit shiny. That's just going to be tough, and it's going to make the meat curl up. So that was the outside of the heart. You can just tell what piece that is. So I'm just cutting it into small pieces. And we're even going to cut it down a little bit smaller once I get it, just chop it roughly with a knife. So this is where a really sharp knife really comes in handy. This little guy does a good job. This is a slightly thicker piece, so we're going to cut it down. And we are in business. So now I'm going to just give it a chop with a bigger knife. If you had a meat grinder as well, you could grind it up. Or if you do find yourself so fortunate as to be able to get heart or other organs at a butcher. So you got the heart all chopped up, transferring it to a bowl. We're going to prep the veggies. So we're going to let the heart just kind of sit and chill with some salt, some pepper, and olive oil, and the garlic. So we'll cut up the garlic next. We've got 3 big cloves of peeled garlic. I take out the little green shoot in the middle. I do that because I feel like it doesn't taste very good. We want a nice amount of garlic here. So that was 3 big cloves with their puny little cloves. And we're going to throw it in with the heart. We're going to add a big spoonful of salt, because you know I like my salt. A few twists of pepper. And just for flavor, we're going to hit it with a little bit of olive oil. Olive oil is not my 100% cooking oil of choice. I definitely prefer my saturated animal fats, but for flavor, I definitely think it has a nice place. Got our onion. I'm using a red one because I have it, but white would work fine. And the onion's got a flat side, just cut it down the middle, cut the end off, we peeled it. Now I'm going to make some little slices horizontally. So I made some slices of my onion horizontally, and now I'm going to make slices kind of around like I'm going around in a rainbow, so diagonally, all the way through. And the goal is to try to keep it attached to the root if you can. And we'll just cut this way, and it'll just fall apart. Alright, onto the celery. We just have 1 rib of organic celery, 1 of the dirty dozen. You want to make sure you always get organic. If you want to get fancy, you can peel it. I don't worry about that. So again, we just made long strips, and now we're cutting. About equal sizes to the onion. It's all going to go in together. We have a peeled carrot right here. Just cut it in half. The smaller piece I'm going to cut, and then always flat side down. Cut, cut, and then we're just going to. Alright, so our medium pan, it's warm. We've got a lot of our veg almost finished, and what we've got right here is some of the fat from when we made stock last time. We just took it right off the top. Save that to be used for cooking because we want saturated fats. They hold up under high heat. And they're heart healthy. So we're going to just throw in our veg. Let them begin to cook while we finish off the red pepper. The same technique can be used with bell peppers. Just cut off the edges, leave the center, not even worry about it. All right, I think that's enough for there. We're going to throw in the bell peppers, stir it up. So we got that. All we're going to do now is we're just going to get our oregano ready to go in, which you can just throw them in whole, or I usually take them off the stem. This is Mexican oregano. You can use Italian. I just happen to have this in my garden. Oregano is a pretty sturdy flavor, so we don't need to wait to the very end to put it in. Also, it's going to get a little squeeze of lemon, and I always am trying to avoid the lemon seeds, making sure they don't go in my food because they're bitter and I don't like them. So quickly just chopping up our oregano. So I think now we can add in the heart. So that's the garlic, olive oil, salt, pepper, and heart. I'm just making sure everything's nicely mixed together. All right, well, it smells good to me. The heart's browned up a bit. We're just going to add in the tomato, the lemon, and the oregano and let it simmer. Right in. If you taste it at the end and you feel like it's lost some of the oregano, add a little more fresh. And just a little squeeze of lemon, which I know there's acid in the tomato, but the acid in the lemon really is nice in it as well. Stir it up and let it cook for a few minutes. I'm going to taste for seasoning. So this cooks for about 15 minutes in the pan. All the flavors are going to meld, and we're going to get going with our side dish. So we're just cutting these down so they fit. So we're just making our zoodles now. Using our vegetable spiralizer. I have the medium blade in. These blades are interchangeable. It's used often in sushi bars to make the little garnishes of daikon radish and other things, but we are going to make zucchini noodles today. Totally fun, totally healthy, totally fresh. We're not going to cook at super high heat. I'm going to add some of our delicious yet pasteurized butter. Add that to my pan. And it's definitely hot enough. It's beginning to foam up. We're going to pick up and drop our zoodles. I just like to use my hand. Julienne some basil or chiffonade. Stack our little leaves. I just picked them out of the garden. So much better to just have a few potted little herbs versus buying those things in plastic all the time. And this nice sharp knife keeps it from oxidizing. But you know, when you use a dull knife on basil, the edges are going to turn black. The best thing you can do is just get a nice sharp knife so you don't bruise it. So a nice big spoon of butter. I find with noodles of any kind, a little trick from a restaurant, pinch it, give it a little twirl like you do on your fork. Topping it with the ragu. A little Parmesan made with raw milk. This will also be great with some hot sauce, some chili sauce, if that's your cup of tea. Otherwise, that's us.